the world with Times Network. And you're watching Mirror Now.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us on yet another episode of Beyond the Headline. Today's episode is something that I'm very passionate about. And not just me, much of urban India is. The problem is this: we are aware, but we just cannot translate into action. This image may not really be true of what the story is today. The story is the Lancet's report of how bulk of India, at least 50% of India's population, is physically inactive. Less physically active than what they ought to be. And the ramifications are serious. Let's take you through the headlines, and then we'll not only bring you the problem, but also just look at the practical ways of looking at the solutions. First, the headlines. Protests, probe in politics. The NEET controversy is only intensifying. Congress student wing storms into the NTA office and locks the building. Youth Congress clash with cops at Jantar Mantar. Meanwhile, CBI makes its first arrest in paper leak case. 2 held from Patna. Leaders of India bloc meet at Kharge's residence to chalk out strategy for remainder of the parliament session. Sources say the opposition will raise the issue of NEET tomorrow during the reply to President's address. Government, meanwhile, ready to take on all questions over the NEET controversy. A delegation of India bloc led by Rahul Gandhi meets Speaker Om Birla and expresses their unhappiness over the emergency resolution being moved in the lower house. I feel ashamed of how passengers are made to commute locally, the High Court Division bench said during the hearing on deaths on Mumbai local train. Ventilators with PM Care stag from COVID times still lying defunct in BMC-run KEM hospital. Officials say they are to be repaired later. People question why not repair and use now. Apathy one after another in the IT city of Bengaluru. Part of a road caves in near an under-construction metro side, leading to massive traffic jams. Bengaluru metro body fills up the sinkhole and uproar. Chorus grows for change in who sits at Karnataka's throne. Vokalega Sears urges Siddaramaiah to hand over his position to DK Shivkumar. However, Chief Minister says such calls are only taken by party high command. Trouble mounts for B.S. Yediyurappa in a POCSO case. Karnataka CID files a charge sheet naming him and 3 others. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to you from the Mirror Now newsroom, which is driven by young minds, sharp minds, some of the best in the industry. And if you are an Indian, the Lancet report applies to you and all of us here, which says that over 50% of India's population is having insufficient physical activity levels, which means most of us are unfit. We are bringing you voices here for only one reason: to try and understand, despite being aware, how difficult and challenging it is to really make time for all of this. One of our youngest here and very smart, Saksham, thank you. I can see you eat something very delicious. Don't name it. Nonetheless, you seem very fit, but do you take time out for being fit?
I cannot find any time to work out during the day because the working hours are such that I'm very taxed and I cannot work out for even a bit once I get home. So no, to your question, I do not work out.
But you want to?
I do want to. I do want to play football or play a sport for at least an hour, but I don't get the time in a day.
Arunima?
Yes.
How is it for you?
I used to work out earlier, but now I used to go work out before office because I come in the afternoon, but it was just too tiring by the time I fall asleep in the night. So it's just really hectic, and I'm tired at work if I work out in the morning, so it wasn't really working out for me, so I had to stop working out.
Okay. So, this is one of the challenges that many in India, in urban India, would tell you we want to, but we can't. Let's also get a sense from others as well. Hi, Asta.
Hi, Sneha.
You're busy with your rundown, but very quickly, tell us, do you manage to get time to do physical activity? What are the choices you make?
Not much, but whenever I do, I work out at home, but I make sure that I eat healthy. So if you're not working out, eat healthy and restrict yourself. Don't hog on to your food and eat healthy.
Do you believe in...
to show that I have Zomato on my phone, so it's okay.
But do you want to be physically active? Do you like being physically active?
Yes, of course. The last time I was physically active was a while back, but I do have fond memories of that time. But I think I'm one of those mentioned in the survey who just don't have the time to get fit.
Just don't have the time, others.
No time, certainly, but I do try and take the stairs, a quick stroll every evening, but over and beyond that, barely any physical activity whatsoever.
Narayan?
Well, more than no time, it's just the fact that COVID hits us very hard. After that, it doesn't come from inside that, can we go? Yeah, I should go, I need to go.
Okay, so my whole purpose of bringing these voices really is to give you a sense of what many of us feel like. Shreya, you're familiar with her. Shreya, how does your day look like?
My day actually looks like a lot of struggle between my mind and my heart. Wanting to exercise, my heart saying that I want to exercise, but my mind saying that I'm very tired from all the work that I did.
I try to wake up at 5 a.m. and do running for for 1 hour, and then I do some yoga.
Kya baat hai?
I usually like to work out every day, but even when I'm not, I try to eat healthy.
Whole point of bringing you these voices is it's very much reflective of you and me. I'm a working mother. I'm a mother to a toddler. Frankly, since I gave birth to a baby, I have never been able to get back to my physical routine, and that's possibly something that needs to change today. Well, that was from the newsroom, and ours is no different a story from much of the urban India that is aware of the challenge, wanting to change their story, but struggling to find the time tonight. While we try and understand the problem, we'll also look at how to make a change for ourselves. At the end of the day, it begins with us. Remember one of the questions I asked the young in my office, you seem to be fit, but do you exercise? That's a wrong question, because fitness is not how you look or appear. Fitness is much deeper, and another concern that the Lancet report really reflects on. So stay on with us. What's the study? The latest Lancet Global Health study, along with WHO, states that half of India's adult population is unfit. To be accurate, half the adult Indian population does not meet the World Health Organization's guidelines on sufficient physical activity. In fact, women, 57% of the Indian population are more physically inactive than men. 42% of the Indian population. In fact, India is the 12th worst among 195 nations. And just few months back in February, Lancet report stated obesity among men in India increased by 26 times in 32 years, and obesity among women increased by 21 times in 32 years. In fact, India's younger generations are becoming more vulnerable to heart attacks. The Association of Physicians of India has claimed Indians are getting heart attacks a decade earlier than their Western counterparts. Physical inactivity is known to heighten risk of developing non-communicable diseases, including diabetes and heart disease. Rising levels of physical activity, along with an increasingly sedentary lifestyle, are contributing to increase in cases of these diseases and burdening healthcare systems around the world, according to the WHO. So as our promise on Mirror Now and 10 p.m. Beyond the Headline is, you are our focus, and today it's your and my health. Maybe some of us need to change things tonight. I'm being joined by Shreya Narayanan, who's an actress, Dr. Nimit Shah, who's in Interventional Cardiology, Breach Candy Hospital, Mumbai. Dr. Ashish Singhal, who's an orthopedic surgeon with the Paris Hospital, and Shivoham, who's a fitness coach. Thank you very much for joining us. In fact, I'm also going to be joined by Mansi Bali in a short while, but I'll introduce you to her in a bit. Shivoham, thank you for joining us. Let me just go across to you first.
Good evening.
You heard my very bright team, the young lot speak, and I believe they resonate for much of urban India, the adults, the senior citizens, as well as the young. You are a celebrity coach and a fitness guide. My first question to you, what does it mean when you say that WHO or the Lancet report says physical inactivity is decreasing rampantly in India? 50% of India's population is unfit. What does this mean for you?
It's actually quite a scary number, and everything that you spoke and everything that you said is very much true. We need to understand one thing. Back in the day, physical activity was plenty, but at the same time, we weren't as stressed, or the word stress didn't exist in our dictionary. Back in the day, there was nothing like depression. There was no anxiety. I mean, I remember failing exams and coming home happily, I mean, smiling, and it used to be absolutely fine. But if you actually see over the last, I've been in this industry for more than 20 years. And thanks to my wife, my definition of fitness has changed. It's no more about, yes, of course, the physical body matters and aesthetics matter and all of those numbers matter. But I feel today fitness is more about the mind than it's about the body. Every single lifestyle disease that you've mentioned, it starts in the mind. Whether it's cholesterol, whether it's obesity, whether it's type 2 diabetes, whether it's blood pressure, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's anything to do with insulin sensitivity or resistance, it all starts with the stress in the mind. The physical activity and the nutrition play a role, but they don't play a role as big as the stress in our mind. And that is something that we need to basically handle. So for me, in one line, it's very simple. A person who can understand the stress in life, can calm down for a second, think about it, and then take the right decision forward. I think that person is truly fit, not someone who has a six-pack or who can run a marathon.
Okay. No, but Shivoham, we will definitely be coming back to you in a bit. Let me just go to the other panelists as well. We'll also want to really look at some practical ways where ordinary people like me and so many of our viewers can get started if we are not already at it. But Dr. Nimit Shah, to you, there are so many reports. Every few months, we are getting few reports. And now you have the latest from the Lancet, which is almost a second in a series of a matter of few months. What should be the big takeaway? Is this yet another report that goes into the research level and is happening to somebody else? Or is it really something that an ordinary Indian woman or a man should take note of and change their lifestyle?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. In fact, this Lancet report is alarming and it's an eye-opener. Because what we see, this is a research and it comes with the data. But what I'm seeing in my private practice, in my personal practice, it's showing what it's believing it. I'm seeing a lot of people with young people having heart attacks, young women having heart attack as well. Initially, we thought women were having heart attack when they reach menopause, but now we are seeing women having heart attack even earlier. The youngest man that I have treated doing angioplasty is 21-year-old, and which is very, very scary. It really pains us when we have to put a stent or treat a patient who is so young. Young woman, 30-year-old, having a heart attack. So I'm not surprised with what the Lancet have shown, and it's high time that we start acting. We put measures in practice and make the changes and make the difference. Because there are few risk factors. There are many risk factors. There are few which can't change, but there are few risk factors we can definitely change. For example, if you have a strong family history, you can't change it. Advancing age, you can't change it. You being a male can't change it either. But your risk factors like diabetes, blood pressure, smoking, high cholesterol, and physical inactivity, they all play a major part in you having a heart attack, stroke, increasing your level of diabetes. So it's very important, at least what we can do from our side, keep yourself healthy, start working out, because what initially we had, our time is more we are spending screen time rather than on-field time. There's hardly any games played, people are not going out, sports has come down, we are more on the mobile, on net series, web series, so it's high time we take actions now.
Right. Right. Very, very important. Shreya Narayanan, you've heard our panelists, you've read the Lancet report, you're an actress, you're a fitness enthusiast yourself. And I'm going to ask you something very interesting. It's one of the things in this report is that majority of women, in fact, more of women than men, are on the higher grade of physical inactivity. Now, that literally busts a myth that for so long has been doing rounds, that women are more physically active because they're doing home chores, they are juggling between house activity as well as working their careers, all of this. And it's often thrown out at women. Of course, men are increasingly shareholders at chores, at least there are more numbers today than it was earlier. There's scope for improvement. Nonetheless, talking about women, there have been studies to show that it's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely a myth to say that women, because they are more involved with household chores, are physically more active.
Absolutely, Sneha. What is physical activity, first of all? The way we define it when it comes to fitness is that you get you sweat a little. You get some 20 minutes of sweat at least while you are working, right? So if I'm just doing chores, running around, taking care of family, my cardiovascular part, the fitness part is not fulfilled. You are continually taking care of your baby or your family or your children, husband, you're cooking food for them, making their lives easier. That does not mean that you are getting the cardiovascular activity, which is so required for things like heart attack, cholesterol, etc. While stress is certainly something, it has to be a holistic approach. I have to be stress free, or I have to at least try to be stress free. Stress free meaning I'm not worrying about everything. I'm able to handle things smoothly. I'm able to I don't run after things. I'm able to flow with life. That is being able to handle life easily. But my body, I am in my body. Mind is just part of the body. It is just an organ. I'm in my body and I have to now keep this body fit. For that, I need it to work or move a little. And that movement, that cardiovascular movement needs 20 minutes of sweat. And that is what women are not getting because they're continually doing things for others.
Shreya, but let me ask you an honest question. People will say, but you're an actress. That's your job. You have to be fit. It's part of your industry's requirement. You are doing what your career requires you to do. There are others who are not so much on the screen, and they need to be doing this as much.
No, that is why there's a difference between motivation and discipline. If you want to get motivated and then go to gym, then you will always be dependent on others to motivate you, something else to motivate you. If you are disciplined, you just decide, kuch bhi ho jaye, I'm going and working out for half an hour. Kuch bhi ho jaye, zindagi idhar se udhar ho jaye, I will go 5 days a week, I will walk on the treadmill. That's it. That should be the way that I can then handle life. Because obviously, for me, it is like my bread and butter depends on it, but not for everybody else. If you can do without it, how are you going to be driven to the gym? How can I drive you to the gym? That discipline is the only way I can drive you to the gym. But people are waiting to get motivated. Don't wait to get motivated.
You know, Shreya, we have, as you're speaking this, we have these visuals of men and women working out in the gym. Quite frankly, that's not something that even I'm able to get to since I have delivered my baby. But I believe Dr. Ashish Singhal is not with us. We have some disruption with his connection. Shivoham, just carrying on with what Shreya Narayanan is speaking at this point. Between motivation and discipline, you know, for ordinary people, and I'm not saying you all are not ordinary, that's not what I mean, but the distance between motivation and discipline is way too much when you have to get up and prioritize so many other things. Prioritize, say, feeding a toddler, prioritize taking care of a senior citizen, prioritize work, emails, phone calls, or getting meals together at home. For women and men, for men who are part of all of this, or, you know, office work, home chores, all of these are not things that can be done. These have to be done. They have to be done in a time-bound manner. There are cutoffs that vary every day. Now, when you have so much on your plate and so many of your hours go in commuting, this whole thing of motivation vis-a-vis discipline just seems to crash. How would you say you can break this? Give us some practical ways out, Shivoham, that our viewers can take.
I'm going to give you two very, very strong words. This person is an example of motivation, but more than motivation, he's an example of discipline. Mr. Bachchan. Even today, Brinda and me, my wife and me, train him every single day. Whether he's doing KBC, whether he's doing shoots, whether he's doing films, every single day he will remove, if not an hour, at least 20 minutes to do some form of weight training with me. And then Vrinda helps him with the yoga, which is pranayams, some mental practices. Point being, that man is 82 years old. He is on his feet all the time. He is working, he's attending meetings, he's doing everything. I'm not saying that, discipline, I haven't seen in my career anybody else more disciplined than him. Coming to the so-called ordinary people, I don't think anybody is ordinary. Everyone is absolutely extraordinary when they want to be. They can prove it, they can
Well
show
said.
it. Start
said.
small. Don't keep big expectations, keep them realistic. Research has proven that even if you do 20 minutes of weight training 2 times a week, it won't give you the aesthetic benefits, but it will give you the health benefits that you're looking for. And when we speak about health benefits from a muscle perspective, you can get in your steps, you can do the movement, fair enough. But weight training is the number one priority today from a muscle perspective. Your muscle is alive. Your muscle is responsible once again to maintain blood glucose levels, to maintain blood pressure, to maintain a healthy heart, to maintain hormonal balance, to maintain your metabolism. Muscle is literally what is doing all of this. So don't go to the gym 7 days a week. Twice a week, even if you can give yourself 15 minutes of some very basic resistance movements at home, it's absolutely fine. So start small. Don't watch Rocky and get motivated and say, I'm going to do this 7 days a week. I'm going to climb the Everest. No, start small. Start with very realistic goals, goals that you can achieve and feel proud about, because that's how you build. 10 minutes, start with 10 minutes, even if it's just 3 times a week. Let that become a habit. That habit itself will last lifelong and you'll be fine. Because then once you start seeing results, you will want to do more of it. And I think 10 minutes is something that all of us can very easily remove. I don't see any reason why we can't remove 10 minutes in a day to do some form of very basic resistance strength work.
Very, very interesting points. And I'm sure viewers are thinking about this. Viewers ought to think about it because it's really about them, Shivoham. But I'm also being joined by Dr. Ashish at this point. Dr. Ashish Singhal, I believe we were having network issues with you, but glad we have you finally. You know, my question to you is these WHO guidelines that India seems to be falling short of, at least half of India's population. I mean, what is sufficient physical activity? It says 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic activity weekly. And it's not about intense activity. Now, you know, medically, and Shivoham spoke about resistance training, and the benefits are humongous. We know it. Medically, how much of a difference would this 150 to 300 minutes of moderate training really make to our body medically? To what Shivoham was saying, how much of a difference would this really make to a medical body? Is this medically backed? Would you back what Shivoham has said?
So it makes a huge difference if daily, at least 5 days a week, we do around 30 minutes to 40 minutes of exercise, which is strength exercise. Basically, in our orthopedic practice, we tell dynamic loading exercises. So, what Shivam was saying, resistance exercises, so that our muscles work against resistance and they gain strength. So that if the muscles are strengthened, they control our joints. So our joint, they don't get stressed out, and so the joint health is maintained. So basically, I'm a joint replacement surgeon. Surprisingly, in past few years, our practice has shifted to young people coming to me with knee problems. Basically, the reason is people have stopped doing resistance exercises or more so ever walking, cycling, and other kind of dynamic loading exercises, which help to keep your joint uh, cartilage safe and muscle strength healthy. So also because of this sedentary lifestyle, the weight which has increased. So 1 kilogram of weight gives around 7 times joint forces on your knee joint and around 17 times joint forces on your ankle joint. So this is the kind of loading our joint takes when the weight is increased and when the muscle is not strong enough to take the joint load. So that is the reason if a person is not doing exercises, not taking their supplements, the young population they are facing these joint problems.
Okay, thank you so much. In fact, I'm being joined right now by Mansi Bali, and let's just listen to her for 3 minutes. There's a reason why I've called Mansi Bali to a show. You know, she's somebody just like us. She has a job, full-time job. She's a mother of two.
So, look, I am an ordinary woman, working, family oriented, and I think there comes a lot of challenges with it. You know, women, I think, are facing the brunt of it a little bit more than others because earlier women did a lot of household chores. There was a lot of physical activity, starting from our wrist, you know, to how we had to carry heavy weights. There was just naturally a lot of muscle strength developed through the household chores. Now that women are in workforce, and I personally come from an IT industry, so I'm an engineer. I very early on in my career, it's been 2 decades. You know, I joined IT companies, and I've been in sales and traveling, and so all of this, right? My advice would be, look, my daughter is 10. Very early on in my career, I realized that with this IT job was going to come a lot of backaches. And there was going to come a lot of sedentary lifestyle when it comes to just you're missing your meals, you're eating late, you have big gaps in your meals, and the travel sort of adds to the whole misery. Um, so very early on, I think it was my second year of career, I got introduced to yoga, and it's just there's been no looking back. But I today do a mix of everything. I go for a walk when I get the time. I do my yoga thrice a week. I try and hit the gym twice a week. Um, I think my only sort of actionable for women out there would be first of all, let's drop the guilt. I think a lot of women feel like prioritizing themselves, and giving and keeping time away from family or from work for themselves. There's just a lot of still guilt that women carry. So I think my first advice would be, let's just drop that guilt, because if you're healthy and happy, then it's going to help your workplace and ecosystem long term.
Mansi, what you're saying may be resonating with so many working women and men for that matter. But Mansi, I just very quickly want to ask you, what are the possibly 2-3 changes that you had to make in your everyday lifestyle when it comes to prioritizing and taking time and putting healthcare and self-care first? What were those 2-3 changes that you made that helped you build a habit out of this?
Sure. See, I think just very practically, one needs to find minimum 30 minutes a day for themselves, right? And if that means you wake up before everyone else does in your house, which is kind of what I did. And again, I did not make this very hard because I'm naturally a morning person. It was easy for me, right? If you're not a morning person, it's okay. My only advice would be, let's not make this hard, right? If it can be easy, it'll be achievable. So 30 minutes anytime during the day. Okay. Mornings work best for me because I'm a morning person. So I wake up before everyone else does, and I'm outside my house, before anyone wakes up. I'm back in the house before anyone wakes up. So that just worked for me very, very well. So take out 30 minutes for yourself, drop the guilt. You have to take this. And if taking out this 30 minutes meant a lot of people are scrolling mindlessly. A lot of people are stuck onto Netflix shows. A lot of people are prioritizing entertainment. A lot of people are prioritizing socializing. I think if it means just giving up on one of those things to make time for this, then so be it, right? So I think a lot of times we say, oh, it's my family, or oh, it's my work, but it's not that. I think it's very easy to take out 30 minutes. So that's one.
Right.
And then the second thing I would say is make it very easy. Let's not call it hard work. Let's make it very easy so it's easy to achieve. Also set goals that give you happiness. So for me, it was, of course, to develop shoulder strength, but also to develop shoulder strength. So I'm able to sort of, carry my daughter from the bed to the bathroom because she loved it, right? And I loved that part of my day. So I think just set goals that give you happiness and easy. They're easy. Don't make this hard. Make it very easy is my advice.
Right. And of course, you need a lot of energy to be playing around and going for treks with your daughter as well. So wish you more strength, Mansi. And thank you very much for joining us, because this is very important, how each one of us takes time to prioritize what really means a lot, at least amid a crisis. Thank you so much, Mansi Bali, for joining us. Back to you, Dr. Nimit. Very quick question. And there seems to be a pandemic, wrong word medically, I can't be using this word, but for over last few months, little over a year, 2 years, we've been seeing people just drop dead in cricket fields, in discotheques, in coaching institutes. The young people are just dropping dead. We have done shows on this, but my concern really is stress is not going anywhere. We have to manage stress better. That's a given.
Yeah.
What else?
Sure. So in fact, very important. You've brought out a very important topic. And in fact, I have published an article on this as well, like young people having heart attacks and heart problems. And you have seen much more this after the COVID. There's complete surge in the rise of heart attack in young patient and death as well. As you rightly said, there's so many celebrities dying in the gym, on the shows as well. So COVID per se has increased the tendency to form clot in the blood vessels, which causes heart attack. And top of that, our sedentary lifestyle, the working hours have changed, working more long hours at night. The commuting have changed. We are commuting more by luxury cars, less amount of walking around. Also, we in general have sedentary lifestyle, especially Indians. We are more prone to diabetes, high blood pressure, and smoking is worse. If you have a COVID, you were suffered from COVID and you're smoking, it becomes really worse. And what Lancet has brought out is two things. One is the risk that we are at, and what is the implications, and what are the measures we can take to reverse this. And of course, it is reversible. I see my patient who have lost 10 kilograms of weight, they have come off antihypertensive medications. So what we think, oh, I've got blood pressure, doctor, don't start me on medications, then I would be on lifelong medications, or you start me on diabetic medication, I won't be able to come out of this. No, you can. If you work out, as all the colleagues have said, if you give yourself time, you start with a small exercise, gradually build up, form a group as well, you'll be coming off your diabetic medications, you'll be coming off your hypertensive medications, your cholesterol would be under control, and this is all reversible, right? Because this is really alarming, as you rightly said, we are seeing young people dying, not realizing this. So this Lancet article is a real eye-opener.
Right, absolutely. Shreya Narayanan, my last question to you, Shreya. To the women who are watching you, to anybody who's watching you, 30 seconds, what do you want to tell them?
I want to say that during COVID, we formed these habits. We were all at home. We couldn't go to the gym. So if we bought some weights and we started exercising at home, there were days we would do yoga, there were days we would do spot jogging, there were days we would do strength training. Whatever works, whatever feels easy and good that day, just do that. And if you're too tired, just relax. Just relax and feel that life is good. Life is good. I'm going to be healthy. I think that I am healthy. Just being free in the mind, but obviously doing something, just half an hour, like Mansi said, half an hour every day. This is what I do now. Now we are not stuck to the gym, that we don't have to go to the gym and do everything every day. I had injury for last 2 years. I was not able to work. I was mostly on the bed. For 3 days, I would be on bed. But one day I would get up and do my exercise so that I do not lose all my muscles, because as long as I have muscles, my, food will keep on burning.
Right.
So we have to do something. We have to do something. And women, they are always doing more stuff for the family. So just prioritize yourself. Keep yourself number one. I know it's tough.
All right. Thank you very much, all four of you. This conversation has been hugely important. All four of you have brought some very, very important aspects before our viewers. There's so much more to discuss, because a healthy body is not only about a body, but also the mind, and so much more. Shreya Narayanan, Dr. Nimit Shah, Dr. Ashish Singhal, as well as Shivoham. Thank you very much, Mansi Bali, who joined us a while back as well. Thank you. Deeply appreciate your time. It's time for a very short break. On the other side, we'll bring you Late Night Edition, where we'll bring you all the big news and big happenings of the day.